Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And today's video is here just like we said it would be a couple days ago, ladies and gentlemen, as we are now here to react to the 5th signing of the season. That's right people, early 2000 vibes with the number 5 getting shouted people, as we are here to tick and welcome another summer signing, another part of the Beale revolution. The Beale army is building as we hit number 5 on the list on the old summer rebuild. So it's that time before we go any further on for me to throw my arms out very dramatically and say welcome to the Football Club. Shall we do that now? 3, 2, 1, welcome Abdallah Sima. Now before we do go any further on with today's video, by the way, just a wee apology right off the start, because you might have heard about Abdallah Sima. Again, we uploaded them just a few days ago, but again, as I always try and say now in these rumour videos and everything, I only bring you rumours that actually has something in them that could potentially become things. And yes, some of them happen really quickly and fast, like Vin Diesel when his family is in danger, and other times you need a wee bit to take that patience for them to end up becoming, because there's a roll July 1st, everything, if you know what I'm getting to there. But aye, this one was quite a quick turnaround. So if you have watched the previous video and you're sitting here thinking, well, I'm not going to sit and watch this video because he's going to sit and say the exact same things. No, there is new things to talk about. We're going to keep it fresh for everyone who does support the channel. We greatly appreciate those who do. And again, I know not everyone watches rumour videos because they didn't want to worry, they didn't want to get excited, so they wait to see it to actually be announced, and now it has. So I'm going to try and bridge both camps into one and entertain and tell you everything you need to know about our latest signing. And as we do become Alice and go down that rabbit hole, if you don't mind hitting the like button or subscribing to the channel if you are new, the channel's doing tremendously well. We are well and truly trucking our way to 60k. We're almost having our own summer rebuild, if you will, or if you'd rather wait to see whether or not this video is worth a like or a subscription, that's fair enough. Let's go ahead and try to earn both those things. And again, I think we'll start off with the biggest talking point that there is to talk about. Now that we've brought in Mr. Sima, it is of course a loan. Ladies and gentlemen, option to buy, option blah blah blah. Putting all that to one side, it is a loan, and that has brought a negative aspect to this actual transfer, where people complain and say, I want money spent. Money's going to get spent elsewhere, and the longer you watch today's video, we'll probably talk about that. But I do want to talk about the loan because again, I'm maybe in the mixed camp. I see goods and I see negatives regarding this. Obviously the negative is being we've probably got a bit of sour taste in our mouth regarding the Malik Tillman deal, because he done so well. Again, best numbers we've seen in the midfield for the last 6 years at this football club, but we didn't get him. So of course there is going to be a bit of sourness, because it is yet again another young, a talented player with a very high ceiling that can play in a multitude of areas and help us attacking wise in our squad. You could almost say on paper it's nearly like for like in terms of the business we done last season for Tillman. However, before we do end up going down the road of talking him as a player and comparing him to others, let's just look at it regarding a deal, because again there is some mixed feelings, because on one hand you're getting a £7 million player and some change depending on add-ons for next to nothing in terms of a loan deal, which obviously allows us, the football team, to use spending and funds on other areas to strengthen, and we will strengthen more people. We'll talk about that later on regarding the actual video. But we're getting a talented attacking player that was worth that money, and people can say, I bet the money doesn't always break. I get all that, but if there is a little bit of a safety net that I will take, is the fact that it was Brighton that scouted, recruited and paid for him. If you've been paying attention people, there is very, very few clubs better run in terms of scouting and bringing in talented players, developing them and moving them on than Brighton Football Club. I don't know what their scouting team does. I'd give them all the money in the world to come up and work for us. They've got more hits than an ABBA cover band, people. And yes, he's not broke in to their team yet, but he is a very talented young player that isn't quite ready to break into that team that's overachieving in many aspects and building towards Europe and building towards other things. But we can't hold that against him. He's still a very good player. Are we going to judge him because he can't break in to Brighton and what they're doing week in, week out? I don't think so. So on one hand, you're getting that level of player with that level of ceiling for next to nothing. Whilst on the other hand, where I've seen a lot of complaints in the comment section in the rumour video, slam the fact that it's yet another loan taking valuable minutes away from our own players. We're not developing our own players, we're developing others to go back to their parent club and take their talents to South Beach, if you will. Now that was a LeBron James reference, and I'm glad all three's actually got that But you get my drift in what I'm actually saying. I get people's frustrations, but for me, I do lean the other way. When I take everything into consideration, we are getting a player who is worth money for next to nothing. And yes, he is maybe just here for a year, depending on what happens, and who knows, and maybes and objects, the blah blah. I didn't even pay attention to that anymore after what happened with Malik Tillman. I'm not even putting any interest in that at all. I'm looking at it as a year. You're getting this player in here to improve an area that badly needs improved, the right wing position. He fits the bill of Michael Beale, which we'll speak about in a minute. And again, if he comes here, does his job, impacts this team the way even a Tillman did in terms of goals and an assist, and helps us win a trophy or two or three, then I'll be happy if he goes back to Brighton and moves on from there. And I think that's the way we need to look at it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 1-year deal right now. Let's see what the kid can do this year and what he can help win us. So I feel like I've sort of discussed a lot of the things I've seen from the rumour video regarding the loan, so we can move away from that. That's how I feel. I'm backing a kid to come here and do the business, and if he does the business, I'll be happy if he moves on at the end of the year. One and done will be fine if we end up winning things, if you get it, my drift, and if he kicks on and beats the player it can be. But I want to talk about the player now, because we've kind of touched around it a couple of times, and it's probably my own fault because I did maybe word it this way in the last video, and people started thinking he's maybe another Tillman, or he's the type of player Tillman is. Where I did say he can impact areas like Tillman, are they in any stretch of the imagination similar football players? Not for me. Tillman is a lot more creative on the ball. He's got that bit of that agility, the poise, the slow, ponderous way, if you will. He's always thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead, and that frustrated us sometimes by seeing it. But you could see his intelligence with the ball, and you can see he's more maybe naturally a midfielder in that way. As he wants the ball to feet, he looks for passes and he tries to find gaps. Sima, not being disrespectful to the laddie, but that's no his game. He's more geared towards being an attacker, and that's alright, people, because that is what we need. An attack-minded player whose first thought isn't to pass or to turn back or to slow things down, that wants to get forward and wants to have a shot from range. By God, is it Christmas? Because it sounds like it for Rangers fans. There's genuinely not a player in the Rangers team or the last couple of years that I would say, oh, Sima is like that. You know how I normally do the comparison, say, reminds me of this? I can't really do that because he is such an attack-minded player, but he brings different aspects to his game. Again, he's got the technical ability and the pace and the skill. We saw that against us when he was one of the best performers that everyone sort of forgets about, because obviously the incident that happened, the disgusting incident that happens. But if you look at his performance versus that game, he tore us to shreds in that game with the skill, with his technique. But he's no just that, people. He's another big laddie, and we talked about it on Monday or Tuesday's video, I should say. He's got aerial threat as well. He scores a lot of headers, and if you look at one area of the park that we've needed to improve, it is our aerial threat, because I am sick to death of watching the only player be able to win a header is Goldson, and every single one of them goes there the bar. And I think if you actually take a step back and you look at Michael Beale's business so far as Rangers manager, especially the summer rebuild, what's he bringing in? Boys that can handle the physical aspect of the game in one way or another, that's got bite, and yes, they've got work rate, we've spoken about that, they all work hard, but also in the attacking sense, he's adding real height to the team, which is something we've all cried out for, because we play in a physical league, and we started to move away and become a soft side under Gio. We just did. We tried to play a fancy European style, and it didn't work, didn't get us enough points, and we never had the players under Michael Beale who tried to play to the standard we played before to actually hurt teams in this way. But if you look at it now, we are bringing in real physicality and real height, two things that should do very well when you look at the likes of Sima and Big Lammers and the other striker we're going to add in. There's height in there, people, and that's what you need if you are the team that crosses the football more than any other team in the league. If you take a step back, you can see what Beale is cooking. So to keep this one short and to keep this one sweet before we get to the numbers, do I see Sima being fitting in with this Rangers squad and being a part of Beale's squad? Absolutely. In fact, I'd say he's the perfect prototype of what he wants from his players out wide. Attack-minded, height in there to hurt teams when the balls are getting whipped in left, right in centre. And that's whether or not he is again playing on any of the wings that he can play on, or even as a false nine just behind the striker. He can do it all from the attacking areas, and again that's another trait that Michael Beale not only wants in his team right now. You've seen it even with the Raskins and the Cantwells, the Dills, everyone. The Sterlings can play everywhere. We've been able to bring in a lot. The only player that plays one position is Butland, and that's because he's got gloves on his hand, people. But we've done that now. He wants that in his team this season, and he obviously helped build that under Steven Gerrard and even his work at Aston Villa. He likes that attacking flexibility, and he likes players not to be boxed in and do one thing. This one again makes all the sense in the world. Will it work out? I hope so. But But does it look it on paper? Absolutely. Hopefully that translates on to the actual park. But aye, people, let's get to the numbers and stats then, shall we? And again, I'll keep this one a little bit shorter because we did discuss it on Tuesday, and that is of course what he's done recently. Was he playing for Brighton? No, people, they brought him in to develop him elsewhere. It's kind of what Brighton does, and he's on that career path, that development plan, if you will, for Brighton. If you look into it, it's quite evident to see. He did have a couple loans. His most recent one was obviously at Angers at the top flight of French football, where yes, it didn't go well. And I seen people, I don't think they watched the video on Tuesday, they just read it, he scored 6 goals, but we spoke about why he played 37 games, only scored 6 goals and only got 2 assists. That was simply because he was only started 50% of the games for Angers, and a team that was struggling and barking, people. They finished rock bottom of the league. Yes, another player we've signed from a relegated side, but they were so poor, and he still had impact despite only being in the starting 11 50% of the time and only playing 54% of the minutes available. Those goal contributions out those games, given the minutes available and the circumstance he found himself in, can be explained if you're fair enough and you look at football objectively. Again, that wasn't his style at all. He likes to be on the ball, he likes to attack the ball in the air, and that's just no what was happening. The season before, I was quite upfront and honest with you, and I get the worries, I get the maybes, bringing on someone on loan who's actually had an injury-ridden season in his career. I get all that. There's always a risk with every single transfer because he only played 10 games this season before, some of that being with Slavia and the other 2 games being for Stoke, as he spent the majority of the season out injured, missing over 25 games with a groin injury, 6 games with a back injury, and 5 games with an ankle injury. I can't explain that, I can't talk that up. It was just one of those really unlucky seasons for a young laddie who burst onto the scene. But look what he done the next again year. Bounced back and played 37 games in all competitions. So let's not call him another injury-ridden player so far and write the laddie off because one of his 3 or 4 seasons of his career that he's had at the age of 22 he spent injured. Just didn't get 4 caps alongside guys like Mane and everything at age of 22 if you're not a player. That's very impressive to break into that side, especially when he's playing in a similar position to a guy like Mane. Senegalese side, you can say what you want about them, but there is talent in there, a lot of money actually when you start to look into the squad on paper. So the fact he's already broke into that squad at such a young age tells you there is something there with that lad, and he showed it when he was given an opportunity to play at Slavia as well, where he did get a lot of starts. When you just look at his output, 23 goal contributions in the 39 games he played. That's brilliant for a young player bursting onto the scene. But again, I've kind of talked around some of this, so I didn't want to bore anyone who's watching. What I will say is I'll finish up by reading his impressive footballing CV at the age is 22 years old. Again, just at club level, no backup football, reserve football, youth football, all those stats, they look nonsense. Let's just look at the tippity top, at the top divisions this kid has played it. He's played 86 games in all competitions, in which he has 26 goals and 11 assists. That there is something you can really get behind and get excited at, because yes, it is 37 goal contributions in 86 games, but when you look at the minutes you start to get excited and everything like that, because this guy, when he's on the park, changes and impacts games, and that is something that has hurt us a lot. We've had a decent midfield, a good midfield I'd say since Bale came back, but the up front has been absolutely shocking, and now we're bringing in someone who's shown already in his young career, when he's given opportunities on the park and played to his strength, he Hearts teams. So for me, people, I'm just going to keep this one short. I'm going to keep this one sweet. I am quietly confident that Sima will be a very successful player for this football club, and it might be another one when it comes to the Aprils and the Mays and the Junes that we're sitting hoping we could have kept. That would be the dream, and hopefully he leaves with a couple winners medals as well. That would be absolutely perfect. But that's everything to say. That's part 2. Again, if you want a bit more breakdown in terms of his career and where it's been and what's happened, you can go and check the previous video. But I feel like that's everything you need to know for those who return to the video and those who are just seeing him for the first time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, until there is real news to talk about, me and thee will sit here, talk about it right here on the channel, and you'll be seeing me again pretty soon with another Rangers rumour. But until then, I've been Sage over 92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye.